5 things to do to go private. You need to control your name. You need to control your signature. You need to have a private trust established under Article 3 of the original Constitution under the maxims of equity. You need to open up you need to create an equitable estate, and you need to open up a bank account. And that's 5. Can you be a private American and also have a license to sell life insurance, IULs? Yes, you can, because private American is private. You're in your private capacity. When you're selling life insurance, you're in your public capacity as an agent for whatever insurance company. We are already private Americans outside of the principal debtor. That's a good question. So, no. That's why you need to correct your status. Like amongst ourselves, yes, but to the system, to the government, no, you're under the presumption. You're implied surety. Even though I teach suretyship, you don't want to be the surety. That's why I teach you how to express your rights as a surety so that you step into the shoes of the creditor as a subrogee. What does it mean, or how can I send papers to the judge's chambers? So it's like the judge's office, his personal space, right? And that could be a double envelope. That could be using a process server. It's multiple ways, but that's what I mean when I say send it to the judge's chambers. That's private. When pleading civilian due process, how would you address yourself to the court? You would say, I'm private American national, private American citizen, or private American civilian, any of those. If we were coerced into a contract, why is it on us to correct it? All right, good question. So, it's kind of messed up that they trick us into contracts. But on the other hand, we have a responsibility to actually read these contracts, read the fine print, and understand fully what we're getting into. Outside of the disclosures, obviously. But yeah, we have to take accountability for that part. Other than that, this is the game that we was born into, the game that the Jesuits play. It's casuistry. What is the best type of U.S. citizen to be? How do you go about requiring that status or acquiring that status? I'm assuming you meant. There's only one type of U.S. citizen, and you don't want to be it at all. Private American is not a U.S. citizen. Private American national, private American civilian citizen, none of those are U.S. citizens. You do not want to be that. I don't even play around with U.S. national. I'll say private American national, private American citizen, private civilian, any of those work. There's obviously other names or statuses you can go by, but those are a bit advanced. Never be a U.S. citizen, though. Can a surety or a guarantee be exonerated if the creditor violate consumer federal laws? I don't study consumer law. This is exclusive equity only. Now, it's a breach of trust if the creditor violates some principle. What happens when the writ of quo warranto is not filed after mailing? So, first off, again, the record is public. We don't care if things are filed on the record. We care about relief. We only give notices on the record. And typically, whatever you're saying in the private to judges' chambers, if they don't put it on the record immediately, like same day or 48 hours, something like that, then chances are equity is running in the background and you're making your way. It's kind of like a rule of thumb. So if you submit something to the judge's chambers, they don't put it on the record right away, then you're probably doing good. Keep pushing, keep grinding it out. How can we learn to pay bills with the money order, and who should we be sending it to? Might want to find somebody who teaches remittances or something like that. There's a lot of people who teach bills, how to pay bills or that stuff. I don't do it because I don't want 100,000 people trying to use the same method to get bills paid, and then that's when the system moves the goalpost, shuts shut stuff down. Got to come up with different ways, different strategies to do things, and I'm not about that. Can you post more content on Shorty Ship case law, like endorser is co-surety and liable? That wasn't quite clear. However, I'll be doing probably not, maybe the next discussion or the one after that, it'll be Shorty Ship. A lot of people have been asking me, so we'll get that together. That's more than likely how I will launch the academy, is by doing a Shorty Ship class. So stay tuned. My birth certificate is authenticated. What is the next step now? The public record? The next step for what? I think that 90% of you guys don't understand why you are authenticating your birth certificate. Because at the end of the day, it's a million people that have done that, and that doesn't mean a whole lot. It's not like your life changes when that happens. It's not like, I'll tell you this. Only time I get something authenticated is because I'm doing a merger for full accounting, full settlement. I need to have legal title and equitable title. But I'm assuming you guys aren't authenticating documents in your birth certificate for that reason. So when preparing to tender an account, you must give notice, correct? That's correct. Or you can just do it all at once. The tender is the notice and, the special deposit. That's usually how I do it. I give all my notices all at once, along when I'm tendering special deposit. When you recoup funds as a private citizen, are you reimbursed in lawful money? So what do you mean when you say lawful money? Like silver, gold? Is that what you're talking about? I'm assuming it is. No, nobody is ever in life going to be reimbursed in gold or silver. It's not going to happen. That's what the Patriots say. It's not going to happen. That's not the coin of the realm. Coin of the realm is credits. All right, so you'll be reimbursed in the form of credits, or could be securities, or just could be a check. Just looks different depending on the situation. Best advice for someone having trouble with child support, where to start? I would suggest you start with Surety Ship. Got to understand that you're the implied surety. The birth certificate name is the principal debtor. As a matter of fact, all U.S. citizens, all public servants, they're all trustees. You, as a private American, you're in a private, you're the implied surety, the grantor beneficiary. So you need to understand everything I've just said to you. Then you need to express it to the prosecutor, the clerk, the judge. Then if they don't give you relief, take your evidence and go to appeals so that you can get relief. When signing contracts, could we simply put surety? You could, but you need to be more specific. Surety for who or what? The point is to be competent here, to make a claim and be competent. So you don't want to half-ass it. Also, I'm not one to just be like there's one endorsement for everything, because it's not. So depending on what kind of contract you're doing and what you're doing, determines what type of endorsement you put. So if you're dealing in straight trust law, why would you want to put that you are the surety? Trust law is superior to suretyship. So therefore, you would want to deal with grantor beneficiary or heir or some other trust position. What can I read to understand tender and special deposit? Start off by studying my page. A lot of times y'all come to my page and you just see one reel, and then you have a million questions, not knowing that majority of your questions have already been answered. And if you want to take this serious, then you should be studying the page from top to bottom. Take your time. So a lot of times, if I'm not answering your questions, that's the reason, because it's already on my page, and I know you haven't taken the time to look at every single last reel, every single last post, every single live that I've done. If you're not taking the time to do that, then I know you ain't going to read. I know you're not gonna, dig into the information that I give you that you're asking for, because it's already on my page and you haven't taken the time to look. So, study the page from top to bottom. You can read Law of Subrogation by Henry Sheldon, Suits and Chancery by Henry. What is the simplest mistake I can avoid to prevent commingling? It's a good question. So, I would say it is commingling just happens because, we're green. We're new to this, right? So we learn it. But the more and more that you study, the less and less that will happen. But to answer your question more directly, if you can avoid using statutes, codes, policies like consumer law terms, then you'll be on your way. You need to understand, got to use equity maxims, got to use Bible scriptures, natural law. What's the difference between private American versus sovereign? I'm currently a U.S. citizen. It's time for you to convert, my boy. So, private American is an implied sovereign. All right? Private Americans are the sovereigns. They're the grantors of the whole commercial realm, the whole government. All right? So, those are sovereigns. We are sovereigns. That's why we don't have to go in and say that we are sovereigns. It's already implied and throughout history as well. Do you have a special deposit template? I don't mind paying and will edit wording on my own. I do not sell templates. Never have I ever, never have I will. Template does you no good if you don't understand what you are doing. And if you did understand what you're doing, then you wouldn't need a template. That's my reason for it. I don't do it. The only template you can really get is a writ of discovery. And I've had people get that and don't even know why they're doing it, which further lets me know not to sell templates. It does you no good, period. I'll never do it. Learn the actual jurisprudence. Learn what you are doing fully. Stop thinking about processes, because that's what consumers do, and that's what everybody just try to put you on. Processes. Fuck that shit. Learn the real jurisprudence so you know what you're doing fully, man. Great day. I sent you a DM about files I can't access in the Dropbox. All right, cool. So if anybody ever have a problem about accessing files, or files needing to be converted, or you're supposed to get a class but didn't get it for some reason, some technical issue, then it's not a problem. We'll make sure we get you right, as we always do. So just make sure you email back through whatever avenue you bought it. So if you bought it off Gumroad, email us. If it was a class through Eventbrite, then email us through Eventbrite, or you can always email the company, info@matisseacademy.com, and we will get you right. Can you explain the money order aspect of your tender of payment? I do not do tender of payments. That's not what it is. Please stop saying that before you confuse yourselves. You think you're paying someone. You're not. A tender of special deposit is you appointing someone and making them a fiduciary trustee to perform a duty, which could be balancing the ledger of an account, or it could be setting a court date, or it could be something else. They are assigned a fiduciary trustee to perform. What is a plug for food stamps? I remember you made a post about it on Facebook. Plug for food stamps is suretyship. Got to understand suretyship, and then you express a notice of subrogation and substitution. When it comes to making a trust, is it better to speak with a lawyer or create it yourself? Definitely better to create it yourself. You got to think, lawyers already default their clients to ward status, right? That means you're incompetent to be able to handle your own affairs. A lawyer is going to use statutes and codes, going to assume that you are a U.S. citizen. It's going to make you a domestic trust. I'm talking about private American, private trust, under the rules of equity, under Article 3. So worlds apart. Can I express equitable subrogation only by speaking, not written, and still find relief? Yep, we do it all the time in court. I just like having something tangible. However, you don't need anything tangible, you can go right into court and express it. Obviously, you need to give notice before you go into court. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for failure. Got to give everybody notice. Any book recommendations for studying equity? I got 2-3 reels on the books that I recommend to start you off with. Just go check them out. I also have a list of over 100 books that you can also purchase on Gumroad for like $47. And the only reason why I even charge for that list is because I drove up the price of Suits and Chancery. It went from like $35 to like $200 over the past couple of years. And, I also don't think everybody's taking it that serious. They probably just grab books just to grab them sometimes. But those are your options. Does the secure party creditor process give you benefits with the consumer transactions? No such thing as secure party creditor. I don't study SPC, secure party creditor. I don't study consumer law either. It's only exclusive equity. Secure party creditor is water. It's all about liens. It's not about the fund anyways. Exclusive equity does not respect creditor-debtor. Does not respect secured party creditor. Creditor-debtor is a public relationship. The court changed the SSN when they dismissed my case. Can I sue in exclusive equity? Well, what are you suing for? Why are you suing? On what grounds are you suing for? What would be the point of this? Sometimes I think you guys are just so, you gotta choose your battles, man. Sometimes y'all be telling me y'all want to go after these people because they done wronged you, they did this, did that. Meanwhile, I'm listening to the story and I'm just like, might as well just not even worry about that and go on about your day, go on to the next mission, because you cause yourself way more stress going after something when you don't really need to or have to. That's your ego speaking. I'm telling you. Is the UPU of Geneva is what the world is governed by? Nah. Matter of fact, Trump pulled us out of the UPU, I think 2019 maybe. How long have you been studying exclusive equity? 7 years, my boy, 7 years. It takes 8 to 12 years to be a master of exclusive equity. How would you go about releasing a tax refund that is being held too long? You'll call IRS and be like, hey, I have a problem, a complex situation, and I need help. What is an equitable estate? How do you build one? All right, so right now you have a legal estate. A birth certificate, that's a legal estate. It holds legal titles. You want to hold equitable titles because you want all your equity, right? That's what we're talking about, equitable interest. And so when you have equitable titles, that means you have the right to enjoyment of your property, your right to be secured in that property without being harassed, any of that. And so an estate is all of your property, tangible and intangible. Your thoughts, your potential, your voice, your clothing, your skin, whatever you create, whatever you buy, literally everything that makes up your estate. And that's why you want an equitable one. Can you get a civil court case dismissed by challenging jurisdiction? Yes, we have done plenty of those. However, I will say, when it comes to civil debt, probably going to have to go to appeals. Just from experience, when we issue court warrantos on civil debt and obligations, they definitely railroad that. It'd be better to use suretyship and trust law, but it still holds weight. Just have to go to appeals.
Sometimes you may not be able to beat a competitor head on, but if Brazil, Russia, India, which is a super booming emerging economy, in China, which we've talked about, come together, and I have a small theory that
tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Oh, yeah. Tell me if it ain't good enough for you, back. Tell me.
Why haven't you never said you're working too hard? Like I've never heard any of those things that I hear from a lot of people. Like,